You lie there in the dark, eyes open to a ceiling you can barely make out. The mattress remembers your shape but never quite holds it the way the ground once did. You shift again, left shoulder, right hip, a small, restless choreography you've performed thousands of nights now. And still the body says, not here, not yet, not home. Outside the window, the city exhales in low mechanical sighs. Tires on wet asphalt. A distant siren that never quite arrives. Air conditioners dripping like slow metronomes. Every sound arrives already filtered, already safe, already someone else's problem. And yet your nervous system keeps scanning, keeps waiting for a signal that belongs to another architecture entirely. You are not homesick for a particular house. You understand this now. When the ache is not for yellowed wallpaper or the smell of coffee on Sunday mornings, or even for the voices that once filled those rooms. What you miss, what your animal body still reaches for in the middle of the night, is the simple, unnegotiable knowledge of where you stood. Feet on earth, the same patch of earth, year after year. You get up sometimes at 3 or 4 in the morning, not because you need water or the bathroom, but because lying still has become unbearable. You pad barefoot across engineered wood that is neither warm nor cold enough to mean anything. You stand at the window and look down at streets laid out like circuit boards. Lights blink in patterns too regular to comfort. Somewhere a delivery scooter winds past. You press your palm to the glass. It is cool, impersonal. It gives nothing back. And in that moment, you feel it most clearly. You are standing nowhere in particular. The phrase sounds dramatic when you say it in daylight. At night, it simply feels accurate. You are standing nowhere that has ever learned your name. Try to remember the last time a place recognized you. Not a building, not a postcode, a place, soil, stone, a particular slope of hill, a tree whose lowest branch you brushed with your knuckles every time you passed beneath it, until the bark grew smooth there, polished by your unconscious greeting. A path worn so deeply that even in snow, your boots found the groove without thinking. The ground had made a decision about you. You had made a decision about the ground. Neither of you consulted language. Modern life is full of excellent alibis for never letting anything decide anything about you. You move apartments every few years because rent rises, because the neighborhood changes, because the relationship ends, because a better view opens up 2 subway lines away. Each time you pack the boxes, you promise yourself this is the last upheaval for a while. Each time the promise thins into something decorative. You carry the same lamp, the same books, the same small wooden box of things too sentimental to throw away, and yet, the moment the last box is taped shut, the place you are leaving already begins to forget you. The scuff on the wall where the couch used to be will be painted over before the next tenant unpacks. The fridge will hum for someone else. Even the view, the one you liked so much, will belong to a stranger's Instagram in a matter of weeks. You keep telling yourself that mobility is freedom. The brochures say so, or the podcasts say so. The city says so in every billboard and every glass reflection. And part of you believes it. Part of you likes the idea of being light, unrooted, ready to pivot. But another part, the part that still wakes at 3 a.m. and paces, knows the truth is more ordinary and more brutal. You are light because nothing has been allowed to hold you. Tonight, you lie back down. You close your eyes and try to imagine what it would feel like if the earth beneath this building still remembered human footsteps from 20 years ago. 30. 100. If every time your heel met floorboard, some older heel had already met the same spot of ground beneath, pressing the same question, am I allowed to stay? The question is so quiet you almost miss it, but once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. So let us walk backward together, not far, just far enough that the pavement ends. Imagine, not a fantasy, not a postcard, just memory dressed in ordinary light. A narrow dirt track between 2 stone walls. The walls are older than anyone can count. Moss softens their edges. In summer, the path is dusty. In winter, it becomes a shallow trough of mud. Generations of feet have walked it. not tourists, not weekend ramblers, people who had no choice but to walk it twice a day, dawn and dusk, because the goats were on one side and the milking shed was on the other, because the well was there and the hearth was here, because the child had to be carried to the grandmother's house when fever came. You are not one of those people. Not really. But tonight, lying in synthetic sheets in a city that did not exist when those walls were raised, you borrow their footsteps. Feel how the path is worn. Not dramatically, not like a canyon, just enough that your ankle knows the slight outward tilt before your mind registers it. The ground has made a choice. It has decided this is where the weight goes, year after year. The same slight lean, the same small hollow where the ball of the foot lands. The earth has kept score, and because it kept score, you belonged. Not because anyone said the word belonging. No one needed to. Belonging was not an emotion. It was physics. Your mass pressed against the planet in the same place other bodies had pressed before. The planet pressed back in the same place. A conversation without words. A contract written in compression and release. You do not need to be told that their lives were hard. Winters bit. Summers cooked. Hands bled. Children died of things that antibiotics would later make forgettable. And teeth rotted. Backs bent early. The midwife sometimes wept quietly after a long night. The priest sometimes drank. The goats still had to be milked. None of that erased the fact that when a woman stepped out at dawn, her foot found the same groove her mother's foot had found, and her grandmother's, and the woman who carried the same name 4 generations earlier. The groove was deeper than sentiment. It was evidence. You lie very still now and try to feel what that evidence might do to a nervous system. No performance review could ever give you the same quiet authority over your own existence as that worn path gave her. No likes, no followers, no title on a door. Just the repeated pressure of one human body against the body of the world, year after year, until the world agreed. Yes, you happened here. Yes, you may rest here. Yes, and this place will carry the shape of you when you are gone. You breathe out slowly. The city exhales again outside. Someone is shouting far below. A bottle breaks. Life continues without needing your permission or your participation. And yet, the longing remains. Not for hardship, never for hardship. You are not romantic in that way. You do not wish for tuberculosis or 30-mile walks in snow to fetch flour. You wish, instead, for consequence. For the sense that your presence mattered to something larger than your own biography. For a world that noticed when you walked across it. The modern mind recoils from that sentence. It smells like regression, like anti-progress, like giving up. But the body does not read philosophy. The body only knows whether it has been seen, and the body remembers what it feels like to be seen by a place. So the nostalgia arrives, uninvited, unapologetic, wearing no makeup. It does not care that you know better. It does not care that you have Wi-Fi and anesthesia and voting rights and central heating. It simply sits down beside your bed and says, very quietly, you used to be necessary to something that did not need to be convinced of your necessity. That sentence hurts more than it should. You turn onto your side. You pull the pillow over your head for a moment, then you push it away again because hiding from the feeling only makes it louder. Nostalgia is not wrong. It is incomplete. It forgets to mention the miscarriages, the hunger, the sons who never came home from fields that were not theirs to keep. It forgets the women who died in childbirth, because no one knew about sterilization. It forgets the winters when the firewood ran out in February. It airbrushes the smell of wet wool and unwashed bodies and manure that never quite left the hem of every skirt. But even when you remember those things, when you force yourself to list them like a prosecutor, the nostalgia does not leave. Because the nostalgia is not about ease. It is about placement. It is about mattering to a piece of earth in a way that could not be revoked by a landlord, a boss, an algorithm, or a mood. You are allowed to miss that without apologizing to progress. You are allowed to feel the absence of a relationship that once existed between your skeleton and a particular slope of limestone. You are allowed to grieve the fact that no patch of ground anywhere on this planet is currently learning your footprint by heart. Lie very still now. Let the city sounds become background radiation. Let your breath slow until it is almost not yours anymore. We are going somewhere quieter. Imagine, not far away, not long ago, that you step outside a low stone house just before first light. No one else is awake. The sky is the color of pewter. Your breath stands in front of your face like a small ghost. You are wearing boots that have been repaired so many times the leather remembers more hands than yours. The laces are frayed but still strong. You do not think, "I am going outside." You simply go. The door creaks in a way it has creaked for 30 years. The sound is part of the morning. You do not notice it any more than you notice your own heartbeat. 3 steps down onto the path. There. Feel it. The ground knows your weight. Not abstractly, not poetically, literally. The slight depression under your left heel is deeper than the one under your right because you favor that leg after an old fall. The earth has recorded the limp. It has made room for it. You walk, not fast, not slow, just walking. The path curves left around the big hazel whose branches you have pushed aside since you were small enough to run under them without ducking. You duck anyway. Habit is stronger than logic. A few yards farther, the path narrows. Stone walls rise on both sides. You brush the right wall with your fingertips as you always do. The moss is damp, cool, familiar. You do not think moss. You think the texture that means home. You are not happy in any dramatic sense. Yesterday, your youngest brother coughed all night. The cow is lame again. The roof needs mending before the autumn rains. And none of that disappears because you are walking a familiar path. But the path itself is steadying. It does not care about your worries. It only cares that you return. And you do return every day, twice, sometimes more, year after year. The repetition itself becomes a kind of gravity. Your body relaxes into the shape the path has made for you. Your shoulders drop a fraction. Your jaw softens. Your breath finds a rhythm that matches the cadence of your steps. You are not trying to meditate. You are simply walking where you have always walked, and the ground answers by continuing to be there. No applause, no certificate, just presence. You reach the well. The wooden bucket is damp from last night's dew. You lower it. The rope slides through your palms in a way it has slid 10,000 times before. The splash comes. So the wet clank of the bucket against stone. You pull it up. Water spills over your wrist. Cold, clean, ordinary. You drink straight from the bucket because no one is watching and because you always have. Then you turn back. The path knows the return journey too. It knows the slight rise where your breathing changes. It knows the place where you always pause, just for a heartbeat, to look back at the house and make sure the smoke is rising straight. It knows. You walk home carrying water that will become tea, that will become warmth, that will become another morning survived. None of it is beautiful in the Instagram sense. All of it is beautiful in the only sense that ever mattered to a body. It happened here, and here is still here, and you are still allowed to be part of it. Now let the image soften. Let the stone walls fade. Let the hazel tree become a memory of a memory. You are still lying in bed. But something has shifted. The restlessness is not gone. It is simply quieter. You can feel the place that is missing. You can feel how much of your nervous system is still trained to look for a path that remembers you. And because you can feel it, you do not have to fight it anymore. You do not have to win an argument with nostalgia. You only have to let it breathe beside you, like an old dog that finally stops pacing and lies down near the fire. The fire is low now. Embers. Small orange pulses under grey ash. No more crackle. Just heat that has already given everything it had to give. You do not need to add another log. You do not need to stoke it. You only need to sit with what remains. The warmth on your face. The faint scent of wood that has finished burning. The silence that is not empty. Your breath moves in. Your breath moves out. Somewhere far beneath the floorboards, beneath the concrete, beneath the asphalt, beneath the pipes and cables and forgotten foundations, the earth continues. It does not hurry. It does not forget. It waits. And perhaps, if you stay very still, you can feel the tiniest echo of all the footsteps that ever fell on this spot before yours. Not as ghosts, not as stories, just as pressure. Quiet, repeated, patient. You are not them. You will never be them. But tonight you are allowed to rest inside the same question they rested inside. Why do familiar footsteps in the earth still whisper of permanence? Because something in you still knows how to listen. Close your eyes. Let the embers do their slow work. There is nowhere else you need to be. The ground has not forgotten how to hold weight. Even yours. Even now. Breathe in, breathe out. The fire is almost gone, and still warm. Still warm. Still.